Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Love Queendom. Today, we're going to be talking about how money is a form of energetic enslavement. And before I get started with this episode, I just want to give a disclaimer to you guys because I'm going to be explaining how to maneuver your way around money in the matrix, okay? From a 5D spiritual perspective, okay? And so this is a perspective where you are basically controlling reality with your mind, okay? You understand that this reality is actually an illusion, okay? It's like an energetic hologram that we come into to have certain experiences. Your body is the avatar that you're using to move around this experience and also to project out your own hologram for you that allows you to have certain experiences, okay? And those experiences are based on the state of your consciousness. Now, when you become aware of this basically means that this physical earth plane is like a video game for you. So your mind isn't really bound to the same laws and rules and regulations that everyone else around you's mind is bound to, okay? And so that means that you are more free in terms of your ties to, let's say, traditional moral structures, because you understand that, like, I'm a spirit just having a physical experience, okay? So there are certain laws that will not apply to you, okay? There are certain rules that just will not apply to you, okay? And that includes things like needing to work in order to earn money. But I'm going to get into, how this really works in terms of using your mind to transcend money. So that is just a disclaimer. So if there's anything that I say that doesn't resonate with you, maybe morally or whatever, that's okay. Just take what resonates with you and leave the rest. So that's part one. Okay. I'm also going to be, as I said, talking about how, money works from a quantum perspective, and then how you can use that quantum structure to transcend money in different ways. Okay. So, if you're new here, by the way, okay, welcome to the Love Queendom. This is a space of love and joy and peace and abundance and all the good things. And here at the Love Queendom, we talk about spiritual ascension and how to create your own reality. So let's get into stuff, okay? Now, first of all, let's just do a quick recap on how money, kind of works from the physical perspective, and how it works on a quantum perspective. So basically, most people on this planet, they have a 3D level of consciousness, okay? And so what that means is that their perception of reality is that everything is physical and separate from me. Who I am is my body, and I have to follow all of the rules that society has laid out for me, including these ideas that I have to work in order to earn money, and that I can't acquire things in this physical reality unless I have said money, okay? This is the normal construct that most people on this planet are operating from. And so what this means is that these people are trading their time and their body and their life force energy for money, because they believe that in order for me to do anything in this physical reality, in order for me to acquire anything in this physical reality, that's what I have to do, okay? But I'm trying to explain to you guys that it is just a belief, okay? Because when we shift now to understand how this reality actually works from a quantum perspective, okay, this reality is actually just an energetic hologram. Okay, it looks solid, it looks unchanging, but it's actually an illusion, okay? And you can come into the knowing of this reality being an illusion through things like self-study, okay, like listening to this podcast, and other types of materials. And it can also be shown to you, okay? Like for me, it was shown to me through a third eye awakening, this reality is actually just, different frequencies and energies, and that everyone's individual experiences are actually different holographic projections from these people's minds. And that's how their life is unfolding, okay? So when you're operating from that perspective, you're understanding that, everything is energy. It's kind of just a manipulation of energy. I am projecting out my own hologram, okay? And so based on the state of my consciousness, that is what is going to determine what is actually possible for me to experience in my physical reality. So if the state of my consciousness is telling me that I have to work in order to earn money, whether that be, investing or having a job or, literally selling my body for the money, I have to do something in order to acquire the money in exchange for other things, okay? If you're in that state of consciousness, that is what your reality is going to be. If you are in a state of consciousness where you don't believe any of those things, and not only do you not believe it, but you actually really, really live from that belief in a completely natural way, you will be able to manipulate reality so that you can actually do things and acquire things, and your reality can shift for you whether you have money or not, okay? Whether you're working to earn that money or not, okay? So this is the distinction. Now, the reason, okay, why money is a form of energetic enslavement is because when you're in this 5D perspective where you understand that, okay, I'm actually infinitely abundant, I'm infinitely capable of creating whatever I want because my experience in this reality is based on the state of my mind. If someone has convinced you that actually you are limited, and from that state of limitation, you are now confined to only perceiving the world from a physical perspective, which means that you believe that you have to do things in the physical in order to trade for money. That means that you are literally trading your life force energy, okay, your body's energy for money. And we all know that our bodies only have a certain amount of energy, we all need to sleep a certain amount of hours a day to replenish ourselves. We get older and our bodies start breaking down, so we're not able to push ourselves as hard. And so if we're operating from a framework where whether your means of earning money is using your mind, you're a lawyer or something like that, or it's that you are a construction worker, so you're actually doing physical labor to earn the money, there is still kind of a finite nature to your ability to acquire said money, right? So there's a limitation there. And so what happens to a lot of people is that because they're living in these very limited constructs about how reality works and, their ability to do things and acquire things in this reality, they are literally, running around, killing themselves, expending their life force energy, trying so hard to acquire money because they don't understand that if I just took a step back and sat still and worked with my mind, I could start projecting out a new reality where the resources that I need come to me without trying. Whether that resource is money or the actual thing in question that I need or something else that is shifting around to help me get to my end result. This is the distinction. So this is kind of the primary basis of how money enslaves you, okay? The idea of needing to work to earn money, like I said, whether it's investing or whatever, you're operating within a finite sort of construct, okay? Now, another thing that I want to mention too is that when it comes to how, money is created and how it actually works, it's like every single jurisdiction has a central bank, okay? And that central bank is actually able to create money out of nothing. They literally just type it into a computer and then They loan that money to other banks who then loan that money to you, or they loan that money to businesses or whatever. And then those individuals who, are loaned that money or whatever, now you have to start again working and expending your life force in the physical in order to pay that money back. That money that was literally created out of thin air. And once you kind of go really deep into this, okay, understanding how money works, you will start seeing how this whole thing is like totally an illusion and it's totally a Ponzi scheme, okay? There's a guy on YouTube, actually. His name is Mike Maloney. He has really, really good videos that explain how money works. I'm going to post the playlist in the description so that you guys can watch it. And the thing is, since money is one of the most tricky elements of the matrix that keeps people stuck to it and enslaved to it, it's going to take your mind a while to really, number one, grasp this idea that, this whole money thing is just totally bogus and an illusion. Like the money that they're making us work so hard for and strive so hard to obtain is actually like literally just them typing it into a computer, right? So it's completely worthless. There's no reason why we should all be believing in this construct. Getting your mind there will take some time, okay? So I recommend that you maybe listen to Mike's playlist multiple times, take notes, watch other videos, listen to other content that really explains to you guys what money is and how it's created. Okay, this content that I'm referring you to, this is like 3D content. Okay, so these people are not even spiritual or anything. They are just people in the matrix who understand the construct of how money works, central bank systems and all of that kind of stuff, right? That is step number one for you to really get your mind on money. Once you start moving into this more spiritual, non-physical, quantum 5D understanding of how reality works, what happens to your mind is that you start kind of seeing a bigger picture of this infinite reality and your ability to manipulate it with your mind. So it's like, okay, beyond even that 3D stuff, I can transcend it completely. I don't even have to be looking at manifestation and reality creation from a perspective of how do I earn more money? Because what I observe too in the spiritual community is that a lot of spiritual teachers, their minds are still kind of in the matrix a little bit. And it's in the matrix in the sense that they're still operating from these belief systems of like, you have to work to earn money, right? And like exchange some kind of value to get money from people. And that, as a spiritual person, you should be sharing your spiritual gifts for money and stuff like that, right? And these are just realities that people are operating from based on the state of their consciousness. And reality, you can shift it all the time just by shifting your consciousness. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it happens overnight, but it's possible, okay? So now I'm going to get into some steps that you can take to start using spiritual information and spiritual principles to transcend money. And I'm also going to give you a couple of examples of, how I've done this in my own life and just, examples that I've observed as well. Okay. So first of all, working with the knowing, like I said, that we are projecting out our own hologram of this reality that is determining our experiences through our mind, and that it's, the state that your mind is in that's putting you in a particular energy that is allowing your reality to unfold in a certain way. Step number one is you have to start working on the state of your consciousness and your energy. So I have an ascension program. I keep promoting it to you guys because I'm telling you, this is the way out of the matrix. You have to raise yourself up to a frequency of love that is higher than the matrix. So you're no longer caught up in their energetic frequency where they can bind you with all their rules and, energetic enslavement that they're doing by keeping people in fear and guilt and shame and all this kind of turmoil, right? That stuff is literally, within the frequency of being bound by all of the rules of money. And what happens too is that if you don't do this work on your state of consciousness and your energy, you're not even going to be able to see or perceive ideas and ways of thinking and doing things that will come into your mind to transcend money. Okay, so that is step number one. You have to start shifting your consciousness to raise your mind higher, release all of these limiting beliefs about how reality works and what you need to do to move around it and to be successful in it. And then ideas and ways of, maneuvering around certain circumstances will actually just come to you like almost instantaneously, okay? So that is step number one. Work on your state of consciousness, work on your energy. Things will not necessarily happen for you, at the blink of an eye. But gradually what you'll see is that how your reality starts unfolding for you will be different. It will be more positive. And you're not going to have to be in this chasing energy where you're thinking so hard of how I'm going to acquire the resources to do all of the things that I need to do. You start shifting yourself into a more calm, stable, centered, secure energy that has this ever-present knowing and stability that no matter what, I am going to be okay. And no matter what, I will receive the resources that I need from me at the time that I need them, okay? That is step number one. Now, continuing on with that construct, okay? What I want you guys to understand as well is that a lot of people, because their minds are still in the matrix, and they have these dreams and aspirations of living a wealthy life, a life that they perceive to, that you need to have a lot of money in order to experience. There will still be a desire for them to acquire money, a lot of money, right? And what I want to say as well is that once you start shifting your mind and working with your mind, filling yourself with love and working on your energy so that you're secure and stable all the time, the amount of materialistic desires also begins to diminish, okay? And this is important because this also helps to shift your reality in a way that your resources will always be more than enough for you to do what you need to do. Because what happens to a lot of people is that they typically feel like they don't have enough money because they're actually also spending a lot of their money doing things like to make themselves feel good, like, buying clothes or shoes or whatever, taking trips, like just doing these very superficial things, right? And so that can run you into a lot of debt. It can put you in a place where you just never have enough, right? And then you're always feeling like I need to get more money so that I can do more things and I can, live this elevated life that I want to live. But once you start working on your energy and your state of consciousness and you're more calm and stable, it's not that those desires go away completely, but they diminish significantly. And as I said, because that shift is there, now it kind of frees up your existing monetary resources to do, more important things, like things that are actually pertinent to your day-to-day survival and stuff like that, right? And so in that way, you're not feeling that lack and that constant chasing, okay? So that was something else that I wanted to point out. Now, another thing is that you have to start learning how to project out the knowing of a certain outcome without tying it conditionally to needing to earn money or needing to have money in order for this outcome to materialize. Let me give you an example, okay? So in the movie Ocean's 11, I think it's the one that Rihanna is in. I think that's the name of the movie, Ocean's 11. It has women as the main characters of the movie. In the beginning of the movie, there's a scene where one of the main characters, she walks into maybe Sephora or something, and she's pretending like she wants to return some items, right? So she picks up some items, she goes to the till, she tells the lady working at the till, I want to return these items. The lady asks for her receipt and she plays dumb and says like, oh, I don't have a receipt. So now the lady is like, well, I can't return the items without a receipt. Basically, eventually what happens is that the lady says, well, if I can't return the items, can you at least give me a bag? And basically, the lady at the till gives her a bag. She puts the items into the bag and then she leaves the store, okay? So in that moment, what actually happens is that she did a very crafty form of theft, is what some people will say, right? But what I'm just trying to illustrate in this particular example is that it's about how your mind works, and it's about your ability to maneuver your way through circumstances without having any money, okay? Because in this particular circumstance, she had no money, and this is how she acquired those items, okay? And she did it in such a crafty way where it's not even like she just picked up the items off the shelf and walked out of the store, right? She even made it seem like it was perfectly, she was actually doing something that was like normal in the Matrix, which was, returning items. And she kind of manipulated that situation to get what she wanted, right? But again, this is just an example, and this one is fictional and hypothetical. Let me give you guys a real example, okay, from my own life of how I was able to basically erase a $60,000 problem for myself. So if you watch my videos or my episodes where I talk about things that I'm currently manifesting, I've spoken in each one of those episodes to date about how I'm manifesting $100,000 to pay off a certain amount of debt. And, the thing about this platform too that will be interesting for you guys is I'm constantly working on the state of my consciousness. So the way that I think about everything in my reality, including things that I perceive to be problems for myself, it's going to be shifting as I'm shifting my consciousness. Okay. So at the time of me recording those previous episodes, I really was in a state of thinking that I needed to find a way to earn this money to pay back, a $60,000 business loan that I had. And actually $20,000 of that loan would actually be forgivable if I paid it back by the end of 2023. But even that was like a long stretch for me. Okay. So I was just literally sitting here not knowing how I was going to acquire all this money by the end of the year. And if I didn't, then I would have to pay back everything. So that was a significant problem for me. And then one day, the thought just came to my mind and I had a realization that, wait a minute, my business is incorporated. It literally has nothing to do with my personal finances, number one. And number two, I actually have two business entities in two different jurisdictions that I'm using to run the same business. And the other jurisdiction actually owns all of the intellectual property of the business. It also is the one that is currently paying for all of the, business expenses that are keeping the business running right now. So essentially, the entity that is owing this $60,000, first of all, it's separate from myself, which means that I'm not liable personally for these debts. Always incorporate your business, guys. That's number one, okay? And so because of that, I can basically bankrupt this business, not have to pay back one single penny of that money, which will essentially mean that I got $60,000 for free. That's crazy. That's crazy. And I literally just thought of it like, wait a minute, maybe I don't even need to earn the money to pay this back. Like, maybe I just don't need to pay it back and I can still run my business through the other entity, which owns all of our intellectual property, all of the money that the business is earning currently is going into that other entity as well. It's in a completely different jurisdiction as well. So for me, that was just like a mind-blowing solution that materialized in my reality, where I was thinking I needed money to solve this problem. And I actually just needed to get my mind to a place where I knew the problem would be solved, whether it was through earning money or not. This is how the problem is going to be solved. Okay. Now, as I mentioned in my videos about things that I'm currently manifesting, I also have like other business debts and other debts that I'm trying to pay off as well. And it's interesting for me to also observe how my reality is shifting as these solutions are materializing for me for those things as well. And another interesting thing I'll say too is that despite all of these, let's say, quote unquote, financial problems, right? I've not been in a situation at all where I feel like I don't have enough money to live my life or pay my bills or help my family or do the things that I need to do. You know, it's like I'm still really, really okay, especially compared to what I'm hearing is going on out in the world of, you know, people really struggling financially right now and stuff like that, right? And I'm going to credit doing energy work as the reason why I'm currently having this experience where things are just okay for me. You know, things are just unfolding in a nice, easy way. Solutions are materializing as I need them to materialize. And again, it's not necessarily involving me doing anything in the physical to acquire money. So that's just what I really wanted to point out here. And another interesting thing too, you guys, about this money thing is that I haven't done a video yet on my house manifestation, but I also manifested a house without a job. And I didn't even have all of the money to manifest the house as well until maybe like the day that I got my mortgage approval. I materialized the money to finish buying the house. And the other money that I used as well for like the down payment and stuff like that, that money materialized along the way as well. And so I will do a separate video on that manifestation because that is probably one of my best manifestations to date. But yeah, the point is you can do things in this reality, okay, without having to work for money, but it requires you to shift your way of being and to shift your perspective to working with your mind, learning how to work with your energy, manipulating your state of consciousness so that you are really projecting out the solutions and materializing things that you need in like an infinite amount of ways. And it just happens so seamlessly. It's crazy, right? There's no resistance to these things materializing when you're learning how to like shift yourself energetically for things to be effortless. Ideas will come into your mind that will immediately solve your problem. People will call you, give you, you know, the solution to your problem without you even asking for it. It's literally an infinite amount of ways that you can manipulate the matrix to work in your favor, okay? And not have to be stuck in this enslavement of constantly chasing money, okay? Because this is what so many people are stuck in, okay? Even the people who are, you know, the wealthiest people in the world, and those people are really just the wealthiest people in the matrix, they're constantly in that chase as well. They're always looking for ways to try and earn and make more money because their minds are actually in lack, okay? And so they're also slaving as well. They're also constantly giving their life force energy to try and acquire more and more and more and more and more money. And it's never enough, no matter how much you obtain. So I think I'm going to leave this episode here, but I hope that you guys found it illuminating. I hope you guys found it helpful. If you have any questions, comments, please feel free to leave them below or send me an email. And I will see you guys in the next episode.